All right, guys. Last Devo for Abraham. We're coming from Genesis chapter 25, starting in verse 7. It says this: This is the length of Abraham's life, 175 years. Abraham breathed his last and died in a good old age, an old man and full of years, and was gathered to his people. His sons Isaac and Ishmael buried him in the cave of Machpelah, in the field of Ephron, son of Zohar the Hittite, east of Mamre, the field that Abraham purchased from the Hittites. There Abraham was buried with his wife Sarah. After the death of Abraham, God blessed his son Isaac, and Isaac settled at Beer Lahai Roy. Right? So here I just wanted to talk about living a good life, right? We see here that Abraham lived quite a long time, 175 years. I don't know if any of us are going to live that long, at least initially on this earth. When God comes back and we're resurrected, of course we will. But here, Abraham lived 175 years, and he lived a good life, full of years, right? Can we all say that we can live a good life full of years, right? Does our life have meaning? I think God gives us meaning for our lives, right? We have to seek Him out, search for Him. I think He gives us all meaning for our lives. I mean, sometimes it can feel like our lives are meaningless, that we're not doing any good. There's nothing good in our lives. But God can make good come out of our lives, right? If we trust in Him, if we obey Him, if we're willing to stretch out. And you got to imagine all the things that Abraham has done. We just talked about a few of the things that Abraham has done in his life, right? But when you read through the account of Abraham, he did extraordinary things. Extraordinary things. He stepped out in faith several times. He wasn't scared to go out of his comfort zone, right? I mean, sometimes he was scared to go out of his comfort zone, but he did it. He trusted in God, and God blessed him for that, right? God blessed him because he was willing to do what God said to do. Are you willing to do what God says to do? Will you be able to say at the end of your days that you had a good life, full of years, right? Full of years. You live to a good old age, full of years, right? Some people might live to a bad old age, right? Bad old age, meaning that their lives are nothing but trouble. They didn't accomplish anything, but they lived a long time. And you know people like that. People who are cranky, who are sour, or depressed. There's nothing good in them, but that they live to a long life, right? But then you know people who live a good life, right? They bring joy, and they bring vibrance, and they bring love whenever they come into a room or into a group of people, right? They think of those people fondly. Right? Will you live to a good old age, full of years, as Abraham did? One of the things I really like about this verse is that I never caught this before, but it says that he was buried by his sons Isaac and Ishmael. And we know how much trouble Ishmael and Isaac had together, right? We know how much issues and fighting and quarreling went on because of Isaac and Ishmael's birth, right? Ishmael, was from Hagar's. I believe it was Hagar's son, and Isaac was Sarah's son, right? And there were issues because of that. But here in this scene, at this burial time, right, they both came together to bury their father. They came together to bury their father. Whatever issues or problems they might have had, right? Because of Abraham, they both loved their father. They both came to his burial site, and they buried him right next to his wife, Sarah, right? You could tell how good Abraham was. Did Abraham have his issues? Yes. Do you have your issues? Do I have my issues? I definitely do. We definitely do, right? But was he a good man? Yeah, he was. God used this guy mightily. He used him mightily for his kingdom, for his glory, right? And he can use you mightily for his kingdom, for his glory, right? Let's be people who can say at the end of our days that we live to a good old age, not a bad old age, right? So that's the Devo for the day. Thanks.